Good afternoon, y'all. RP Charging here. So this video is basically giving you my take on the Ioniq 5, my own personal vehicle. I purchased this vehicle back on the 5th of March. So I've had it for a little over 7 months now. And I've put on about a little over 10,000 miles. And to be the exact 10,131 miles. And during these 7 months and 10,000 miles, it's been really a fun 7 months with this vehicle. I've had a great time with it, driving it to and from work and running errands with this vehicle. It has met every expectation that I've had of it. Before this vehicle, I had a Tesla Model 3 dual motor. It was a 2020. I ended up selling that Tesla Model 3 back in October of 2021. I had that vehicle for about a year and a half, a little bit more than that. I got rid of the Tesla Model 3 mainly because of insurance purposes and the amount of accidents that I seem to have been having with the vehicle, none of which were my fault. Mainly people here down in Miami running into the car and whatnot. And so I decided to get rid of it because insurance was increasing due to that. And so from getting out of the Model 3, I wanted another electric vehicle. And at the time, I was looking at the ID4, and it was really difficult to find an ID4 at the time because of production issues, price being available. I did put an order down for that vehicle back in around the October, November timeframe, and that vehicle would have been ready, like February of 2022. But at the time, like, I needed something right away. My wife uses her vehicle for work. And so at the time, I was borrowing my mom's vehicle, which I thought I could hold on to until I could get the ID4. But throughout all that time that I was waiting, I checked several VW dealerships. They had none available. And so my mom's vehicle was starting to break down, where the AC was having an issue, and down here in Miami where it gets hot. So I decided, okay, I needed something right away. So I went to VW, and I had gotten the Volkswagen Atlas Crossport, which was a nice vehicle, big and all, but it wasn't electric, which I kind of felt odd not being an electric after being in the Tesla for so long. I would get out of the vehicle, forget to put it on drive or forget to put it on park, because I was, I guess, spoiled with how the Tesla was. And so I had the VW from, I'd say, around, say, November, December. And it was going well. Of course, I had to get used to the gas vehicle again. I go into gas stations to fill up, which was going okay. Like the price hit at the pump, like was, I had to be, it was a shocker again, coming from Tesla, where charging the Tesla, like was 10 between 20, 10 and $13. The most I ever spent, charging the Tesla was maybe $17. And that was at the time that I was charging it. It was heavy usage time, and it was a V3 supercharger at the time. And so it was that. And then, of course, we had the gas price issues that the country was experiencing, and of course, all over the world. And so the gas of price was starting to shoot up. And I started doing the math because I like crunching numbers a lot. And I'm like, okay, with this VW, I'm already spending well over 300, like per month in terms of gas. And then with the way gas price was going, it was going into the 550s, close to 600 per month, which really made no sense at all. And so since the car was fairly new, I looked around. I had been looking at the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Kia EV6. The first place I did go to was a Hyundai dealership. Like I test drove the Ioniq 5 that they had there. I was really looking into getting the Ioniq 5, but I was also wanted the EV6 since they were pretty much the same platform. And I went to a Kia dealership where I've been to before, and I wanted to get the Kia EV6 that they had there. It was a wind edition, looked nice. Didn't get to test drive it, but since I test drove the Ioniq 5, I was like pretty similar, so it was okay. And then they were looking at the numbers, and what they're asking as far as like down payment was way too much, and the amount that I was quoted for the Volkswagen Atlas was lower than anywhere else. And so I got in touch with my credit union, had them look around as far as the connections that they had with dealerships, and they found one. And this one was all the way about 20 or so miles away from where I live. And so I went there, and provided this wasn't the exact trim level that I wanted the mid trim, or at least the limited, but they only had the lower trim, which is the SE. And I'm like, with the SE, the only condition I would take in the SE is if it was all-wheel drive, and it happened to be. And so I didn't even test drive that vehicle, this vehicle that I'm currently sitting in, which is the one that I ended up purchasing, because I test drove the Ioniq so many times, did so many research. So the numbers look great. The amount that they quoted gave me for my Atlas was good enough, and I traded that in and got into the Ioniq on the 5th of March. And I've enjoyed it ever since. I love this vehicle, and I like the Tesla, which was like my dream vehicle, which I felt bad, having to get rid of it. A lot of people were like, no, why did you get rid of it? I thought you liked that vehicle. I was like, yes, I do, but financially it didn't make sense, to hold on to it in terms of insurance, which was going to increase by a good amount each month. So I had to get rid of it. And so this Ioniq, was a perfect fit for me. There may be a few things I, don't like, but the pros outweigh the cons a lot more. And so I've enjoyed this vehicle for these past 7 months, and I see myself keeping it for a good while longer. My wife's vehicle is an ICE vehicle, and hopefully in the near future, maybe in 2023 or sometime around that year, we may change out her car, maybe for an electric. And right now, we're considering, maybe the Tesla Model Y, the VW, and some of the newer ones coming out from Hyundai and Kia, and we'll consider those also. But during these 7 months, like I said, I've enjoyed it. I like the fast charging. I've yet to experience a 350 kilowatt Electrify America charging station. So far, I've been doing 150s, and I've never had really an issue with that aspect, even though aspect of charging the vehicle. But Electrify America and how they are, that's a whole different issue. I posted videos about my take on Electrify America and some of the issues that's been there. But apart from that, when Electrify America is working well, I've had great experience. Car charges really fast. I'm rarely ever at a charging station for more than 30 minutes. Really, 25 minutes, but I usually charge my vehicle anywhere between 85 to 90%. A few times I've gone to 100%, just to give you, my audience, which is you guys, an idea of what 100% charge on this vehicle is. And usually between that 85 to 90%, a few times 95%, it has met my daily needs exceedingly. And I'm usually charging maybe every 4 days or 5 days, sometimes even longer, depending on how many errands that I'm running. And so, like, I've done a few modifications on this vehicle myself, which I've posted before, as like the rear digital camera. That one was just mainly, for those that have trouble with seeing out the back window when it gets dirty. Like, I've never had an issue with that, but I wanted to do that to give um, people out there options on what they can do to solve that problem. See, I've added a Motorola A1 wireless Android Auto adapter to the vehicle to get Android Auto and not have to plug in my phone to the adapter. So that works great. I changed the emblems on the vehicle to match the design on the steering wheel. I've added, a few um, other things to the front of the vehicle. I'm hoping one day, in the future, maybe to wrap this vehicle in a different color. Um, and we'll see how it goes from then. Like I said, I do see myself keeping this vehicle for a number of years. This wasn't a lease, so I do plan on keeping it for a number of years. I haven't had any issue as far as like battery degradation during these 7 months that I've owned this vehicle. And in fact, it feels like the battery management system is even better than when I first got it. Because I know usually they say like those first few months, like you may get some degradation, or like that first year, and after that it kind of settles out. But I kind of feel like the car has settled out where I can tell how much, miles I can get on a certain amount of charge. And I've yet to push this vehicle down to zero state of charge. I've gotten to like 3%, 4%, and usually with a good amount of miles still left. So one day I will do maybe a 70-mile-per-hour range on our turnpike, and to get it down to zero, to see, like, how the car performs when it gets to zero, and also like how much extra miles is still left in the battery, because there's usually a small buffer. And I usually have an OBD2 scanner that I have plugged into the vehicle that usually monitors, that I use to monitor, like all the stats going on with the vehicle. I call it my geek mode, which I've shared before. And I posted, shorts of what my daily driving on highway and city, in traffic, light traffic, on 100% charge, how much I've gotten, which to me, I always feel like is the better representation, because 70 mile per hour range, like, that is great, to know what you can do if you're going on a road trip. But the majority of people are maybe going on a road trip maybe once or twice a year, if any at all. And what they're interested in is more of daily driving, what they can get. And on 100% charge, which I posted maybe a few days ago, I did 226 miles, and that was over the course of 4 or 5 days. And which to me was a great idea of what I can do, and what others could do if they ever charge 100%, or if they charge to 80%, they can give them an idea of what they can do. So yes, this is a long video, which I know you all would expect, if I'm going to give you my take on this vehicle. As far as my family, like they like this vehicle a lot. Like my daughter loves this vehicle. She is 2 years old. She loves to unlock the door for me and lock the door. If we're parking somewhere and she'll go, "Daddy, lock, lock," and she'll go and lock it or unlock it. She can recognize this car from a good distance away, and and pretty much loves the car. My wife loves the car too. She has gotten used to driving this vehicle. She liked the Tesla. I think this one is growing on her. So in the future we might just be a solely EV family. Well, hope you all enjoyed this long video. If you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot. I appreciate that. And as always, stay safe, peace out, and look forward to the next video. I should have this up soon once I do some editing, maybe adding a few things to it. All right, guys. See you later.